Bungie apparently missed target revenue by 45%, player retention reportedly at an all-time low, and as more news comes to light, it seems Bungie upper management is to blame for the loss of jobs for people lower down the totem pole who are actively pushing for changes to help improve Destiny 2. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. I'm totally kidding, Seth. Please don't sue me. Anyways, we have more news coming to light in the hours past that sheds more light on the situation here at Bungie HQ, what's really going on behind the scenes, what really led to all these layoffs, and now the subsequent fallout of that is the delaying of the final shape and of Marathon confirmed. And the details that are surfacing now does not paint Bungie upper management in a good way in any capacity, leading people to believe that maybe this is less Sony's fault and more Bungie's fault. I think it's still a little bit of both, but at the same time, it seems like most of the blame should be shifted onto Bungie upper management for sure. So let's break some of this stuff down. Let's talk about, I think, two really important factors that we learned. One is that Destiny 2 failed to reach target revenue goals and came in 45% underneath. Now, 45% is a huge deal. That is making way less money than you planned on. Can you imagine if you budgeted out for the year based on you assumed that your household was going to pull in $80,000, but instead of pulling in $80,000, you pulled in $43,000. That would be a massive blow to you, and you would be reeling from that. It's because you made a lot less money, you cannot afford to do the things you planned on doing, and part of that obviously is manpower. So what caused that? Well, another detail that comes in tandem with this news is a detail that shows that player retention and player sentiment, those things are at an all-time low. So you and I, the consumer playing the video game, more and more of us are saying, I think I'm gonna go play other stuff. We're walking away. More and more of us are saying, I'm displeased with the current state of Destiny. And I've been displeased for a while now and things aren't getting better, so I think I may just go play other stuff. So those are things that are happening, and it's good to feel a little bit of validation because, as a content creator, I've been really frustrated with the direction of Destiny 2, especially in the PvP department, for a very long time. And we keep being told it's going to get better, and it doesn't get better. And the things that we want to change about it don't get changed. We get other things instead. We say we want more maps. They give us matchmaking and sandbox updates. We talk about how we want a ladder system in comp. They don't do that. Instead, they give us more strict skill-based matchmaking so that even if you are rank 0, if you're a good player, you're not playing people at rank 0 as you climb your way up the ladder. Instead, you're playing people who are ranked 5,000. You know what I mean? And you're in the same pool together. It just doesn't make sense. That's not how rank systems should work. So all this to say, people have been frustrated for a very long time, and we're not getting the changes that we want. And so as consumers, we are collectively, apparently in a very big way, a lot of us are saying, if you're not going to make the changes to make the product something that I want to engage with, then I'm not going to engage with it. So where does that leave us? Well, unfortunately, the fallout of that is that the people who make those calls, who actually say, yes, you may make that change, no, you may not make that change, those are the people who are safe from elimination this week, so to speak. The people who have been trying to make those changes happen, those are the people that got fired. And that's one of the biggest takeaways from this news that just really is a solid gut punch to Destiny lovers and Destiny enthusiasts. So to put that plainly, there are people who are in QA, there are people on the community teams, people whose job it is to say, this is the state of the game, this is what players are feeling, this is what we're feeling internally, and they've been pushing for these changes. They've been echoing our same sentiments and saying, these are the changes we got to make if we want to retain players. So these people were told, according to this article that came out from IGN, these people were told, hey, player retention is at an all-time low. You got to do something about it. And they said, yes, we agree. This is what we should do about it. And upper management said, the same people that said, you got to change it, you got to fix it, those people said, let's not do those things. We're not going to fund these changes that you want to make to retain players. Not only are we not going to okay these projects, but we're going to fire you because you are more expendable than we are. So essentially, we're keeping the wrong people here. We're keeping the failures, and we're firing the people who are championing our causes, who want to make a better product. Unfortunately, those are the people lower down the totem pole in terms of like pay and compensation, so they get cut first. And that really freaking sucks, by the way. That absolutely sucks for those people because they're the ones putting in the work. It also sucks for the consumers, you and me, because that means there's no longer that person there at the studio that's trying to make the changes that we want to see with the game. And it doesn't make sense. That's a disconnect that doesn't work. And this article from IGN also highlights how employees there at Bungie were extremely frustrated because they're getting fired while they're trying to make the changes players want to see. And the people who are stonewalling those, who are roadblocking those changes, get to keep their jobs. Not only that, but Bungie then expands their HQ twofold, right? This building renovation and enhancement that doubles the size of their studio in one of the most expensive parts of the Seattle greater area in Bellevue. I mean, it's like right next to a Tesla dealership. There's Porsches and Lamborghinis driving around downtown there. I've been there several times. It's a high-class part of town. It's very expensive. And so they dump millions and millions of dollars into expanding their size and then cutting the people inside the building down by about 100 employees. Another bit of information that we received is that early feedback on the final shape is not looking great. It's not looking terrible, but it's not looking good. It's certainly not going to make up for that 45% revenue that they didn't make, that they were planning on making. And so it's being delayed so that they can make changes that they think are going to make them sell more copies. And one thing I talked about in my video yesterday is that a lot of times what happens when they clean house is they replace them with cheaper people. And that sounds like that's going to happen because they have also confirmed that they are planning on outsourcing a lot of the positions that were cut. When you outsource to somebody else, you are not paying for an employee to come into your building. You are not paying for their amenities, their parking, your food plans if you have one. You're not providing benefits to that employee. So they're a lot cheaper when you outsource it. But you also get what you pay for when it comes to outsourcing a lot of times. And unfortunately, a lot of the statements made by employees that were terminated, they said it sucks to be punished for a problem you didn't create, a problem that you were trying to fix, and the person that didn't allow you to make the fix gets to keep their job. And they're absolutely right. That really sucks. So in terms of who got cut, we're looking at people who are in QA, community teams, but also accessibility, recruiting, artists, engineers, and that's a big deal. Artists and engineers for sure. That's like what we actually get to engage with when we're playing the game. What does that mean for the future? Well, first and foremost, we were promised map packs. And a lot of you, when that news broke, when, Joe Blackburn gave that presentation and talked about that, a lot of you said, I doubt it. And said, I'll believe it when I see it. And it turns out you're probably right in that regard, because I have very low expectations now on the follow-through. Maybe they'll deliver something on that promise, but is it going to be, in terms of quality, as good as it could have been or should be? I have extreme doubts. Another issue is that it seems like they did not allocate their money very wisely. We talked about expanding the HQ and spending millions and millions and millions of dollars on that project. We talk about hiring people to work on other IPs, talking about Matter and Marathon and whatever. But Destiny's the moneymaker. And when Destiny underperforms by 45%, you didn't spend your capital wisely, especially when you think, I always go back to this quote that Joe had, where he's talking about how making maps and making content for actual content, not sandbox updates, okay? Not matchmaking changes, but actually making content for PvP is a real challenge for them because they don't have PvP people. They don't, there's no team that's making PvP content. They have to pull them off of PvE content and put them on PvP content to get that done. You guys got billions of dollars. What were you doing? Like, hire a PvP, hire 5 people full-time to make PvP content. It's not gonna go fast, but it'll be something. Upper management was completely, I don't know how to say this politely. They were very not smart about the way they allocated the funds that they were given. Listen, if you're underperforming by 45% in your management, you made the mistake. You screwed up royally. Yeah, the guys lower on the totem pole are actually doing the legwork to get the product made. But you're the guy that's in charge of the vision. And the people down bottom, they're not in charge of it. You are giving them leadership and direction and telling them this is what we need to do to make a better product. And then they are going to do what they're told and make that product the way that you told them to do it. So if the product is underperforming by 45%, you screwed up. And you can free up, by the way, a lot of capital by firing one person in a managerial position. And that person is worth 2 to 3 people lower on the totem pole in terms of how much money you are designating for their position. So we see them building this opulent new, addition to their building. We also see, listen, some of these people high up in Bungie, they do not have private lives. And we see some social media posts that have come to light that make them look like they live very opulent lives. The homes they get to live in, the cars they get to drive, the hobbies and trips they take, and all that stuff looks very ritzy. And unfortunately, these are the people that are not getting punished. And that's what sucks. And now a lot of people have said, hey, layoffs are not uncommon when stuff goes sideways in the corporate world. You're absolutely right. I mean, I think recently we had this game, Immortals of Avia. And EA was the publisher. They weren't the developer of the game, but they were the publisher. It's a very small developer, new developer, and EA bankrolled the project. And then EA then, instead of putting money where it should have gone, I think they needed to invest a lot more capital in the development side of things and in QA and in getting good feedback early on in the game. And they did get some. I know some content creators who gave early feedback on the game and were not giving it glowing reviews. They're like, listen guys, I don't think this is going to be a good game. And then I was later in the process. EA spent a ton of money, just insane amounts of money on marketing and paying content creators and streamers and all that stuff to show the game off. And we did. Because listen, we're content creators. This is kind of part of what we do, is we will show you a product. We're not going to tell you this is a good product if it's not a good product, but we can show it to you. If someone wants to pay me, I just throw a number out, doesn't matter. If someone wants to pay me $3,000 to show you a product, be like, hey guys, look at this thing. I'll probably do it as long as it's not like a morally corrupt, like gambling or what I mean, or contraband of some kind. I'll show you the product. I'm not gonna lie to you and say, hey, this is a great game, you should play it. My Immortals of Avia stuff, alongside same as like people like Fallout and Aztecross, who also got paid to show you guys the product. My video was literally, hey guys, this is a thing, and this is what the thing is about. And if you want to buy that thing, you can click on that link. But I never said, this is a great game, dude, I'm loving this game. I never said that because it wasn't a great game and I wasn't enjoying it. But I also trust that you guys are smart consumers and you're not just gonna be like, oh, because TV showed me a thing, I gotta buy it. Listen, my favorite color commentator in the NFL is Chris Collinsworth. But if Chris Collinsworth held a pickle up to me and said, Ryan, do you want this pickle for $5? I don't like pickles. I'd be like, Chris, I don't want that pickle, thank you. And you guys did the same thing, because talent all across the industry was paid to show you Immortals of Avia. And we said, here it is. This is a thing. And guess what? Immortals of Avia flopped hard. People did not buy that game. They were not interested. They're like, thank you for showing that to me. No, I'm not purchasing that. And that was honestly the smart play. And it does suck. I feel terrible for the devs that really were passionate about the project, because that studio was immediately dissolved because that game flopped hard. EA lost a ton of money and they said someone's got to pay. And so that studio was stripped into pieces and dispersed across the the rest of EA's studios. So it sucks. Yes, it is a thing that happens in the industry. It doesn't make it any more palatable, It sucks that it's a thing that happens. So, I mean, a lot of people are having that same sentiment with the Bungie stuff. It's like, oh, that sucks, but that happens. And yes, while it does happen, I think the circumstances around this specific scenario are a little bit different, and they do not paint Bungie upper management in a very good light at all. It's corporate America at its worst, frankly. It's the people you like trying to make the changes you want that get punished, while the people that are far above you, who don't interact with you at all, who are cashing out on the project, get to walk away. They get to keep their jobs, they keep their money, keep their lifestyles, and it does just suck. So, where do we go from here? Well, honestly, that's tough. I mean, I'll never tell someone where they need to draw their lines. We all draw our lines in the sand in different places, So for some of us, we're like, I don't buy shoes from this brand because I know what they do overseas and who's making the shoes. And some of us don't do that. But at the same time, those same of us who are willing to buy those shoes will draw our line in the sand somewhere else and say, I will not buy this product because this, Activision is shady and the things that they've been doing is uncool. So I don't buy Activision product. We all draw our lines in different places. So where do we draw our lines with Bungie now? Do we buy future products? Well, that's challenging, because while some of my friends and people that I really respect got fired for things that weren't their fault, there's also people working on the game that are also my friends still who kept their jobs. and I want to support them in their work, and you know, they're still going to put their best foot forward and work really hard to make a good product as best as they can, as best as in their control. Part of me wants to support that. Part of me wants to say, listen, if the people at the top are the ones cashing out, I don't want to buy your product. You know what I mean? There's part of me that wants to go that way too. So where do you draw your line in the sand? That's up for you to decide. How do you progress now? And I would just encourage you to try to be gracious and understanding if someone picks their battles differently than you do and they draw their lines in the sand in a different spot than you do, because it's not an easy thing to do. So a little mutual respect goes a long way. So that is the update on the news that came to light in the last 24 hours. Hopefully you're all caught up now, and I'm sure more details will continue to unfold as we get more statements from actual employees coming out of the studio. Thanks for watching. Be warm and well fed, my friends, and hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.